Hi there, it's Sam from Pootles.co.uk. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today's project is a post-it note pouch. So I've made a couple of these, or made these a couple of times before, but it's coming up to that time of year where we're thinking about gifts for teachers. So I wanted to make one that my boys could give to their teachers, and I've deliberately chosen these colours because my elder two sons go to a school where the colour is bottle green and it's technically gold, but to the rest of us it's yellow. So I've chosen their school colours and I'm going to do a different one now, but it's just a post-it pouch, and actually I've stitched the button on. In other times I've used magnets to close, but I've done, you know, not everybody's got access to the buttons, so I wanted to do a stitching version for you, and that's how you keep it closed. So put that to one side and show you how to make it. Use as a tiny piece of paper. You can get 3 from a sheet of cardstock, whether it's A4 or 8.5 by 11, and I will I'm using basic black because although this is the boys' school colours, Jack is starting secondary school in September because he's 11 now, and I thought, well, I'll do their school colours, but that's got bottle green in it as well. And then I thought, well, I'll use mine, but actually I went to the same school, so I'm using an even older school, an older high school that I went to that was many years ago, 1984 I started at secondary school. No, it wasn't at all, it was 1986, and it was red. Black and white and red. So those are my colours. So 8 inches by 3.5 inches, which is 20 centimetres by 9 centimetres, hence why you can get 3 from a sheet of cardstock. You only score it on the long side. Oh, I've got bits of glitter everywhere. And you score it at 2 inches, 2 3/8 of an inch, 5.5 and 5 7/8 of an inch, which is 5, 6, 14 and 15, and that's because the standard 3x3 7.6 by 7.6 post-it block is 1 centimetre deep, which is 3/8 of an inch deep. So that's why you've got your markings there. And move that out of the way. Come along and fold your score lines. Now, one part of it is there is a top to it and there is a bottom, although there is barely any difference. So when you get your DSP, which is 3.25 inches by 1 3/4 or 8.5 by 4.5, you will find that it fits better on one part than on the other. You see, that is the bottom, that is too deep, so that's the bit that's going to tuck away, so we're going to put that on the top. I'm going to grab my corner rounder, which I did have handy. Where is it? Here it is. And it's the new Project Life one. People have asked what's the difference between this and the old one. The curvature, the gradient of the curvature is more than the old one. So you get a deeper curve round here. So that is all the difference. No more, no less. There we go. So I'm rounding off the corners of those. And this is just the real red DSP from the DSP stacks. It's one of our colour collection DSPs. So I'm going to pop that there. And then I need to position where I want to put the button. So I'm just going to hover my post-it pad in. I'm not putting it in permanently at this stage because obviously I don't want to paper pierce through. So I've got the designer buttons and I'm going to stitch the medium one onto it. So I'm just going to grab my paper piercer. You can't see this very well, although I perfectly can. All I'm doing is popping a hole in the middle of where those 2 holes are going to go, so I can see this perfectly. It hasn't gone all the way through because obviously I don't want to pierce into that, and I can still see my holes. So I'm now going to come in and reinforce those holes and make them deeper. So hopefully, there you go, you can see that now. And I can now start sewing. Oh, this is going to be fun, isn't it? Some Whisper White Baker's twine and, you know, just a regular needle, I suppose. Feed that through. And so I want to come through from the front first because I want to finish with a bow. So I can't believe I'm demonstrating how to sew. So through the front of the button, through the front of the hole, through the back of it to come back through the front, and then back through the front of the button, and I shorten the length of this baker's twine. I'm going to tie it in a knot first, And then I can vaguely attempt bow. Actually, baker's twine is easier to tie bows with. She says it's easier and I've twisted it now. I am so bow challenged, aren't I? There we go, that'll do. There's my scissors to trim off the bits. And what I can do now is stick this in, so making sure it's the right way up. Put some, why do I keep picking up the one that's empty? Put snail on it. If you put sticky strip, it becomes a bit too permanent, but you can peel snail off. And I'm looking down at it so I can see that it's in the middle. I'm looking straight down. And that is now closed because the button is holding it perfectly in place. A little bit of quick stamping. And I've got the Creatively Yours. And I kind of thought, you know, if my boys were going to give this to a teacher, they would want to show that it was made by them. So I've chosen this one, made with my own two hands. Whisper White, Real Red. I forgot to get some Real Red cardstock out. Good job my drawer is very close to me. There we go. So I need the postage label punch, which fits around this one here. And then I've got the curly label punch, which is lovely, and a Real Red one, and some dimensionals for this lot. So one on the back of that, and into the middle. Now these are very slightly rectangular. If you can see, it fits. There's more top than bottom, so it's up to you which way round you want to put it. A couple on the back there. I've gone for top left-hand corner because I just think it looks good. And I've got some rhinestones, basics rhinestones, and I want to put a strip of these. Now these ones here are all on a strip. Can't remember how many I used. I used 8. 2 strips of 8. Where's my little scissors gone? There they are. So I'm just going to count along. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. So I now have 2 perfect strips here. Look at that, all on a long strip. Straight across there. This is a little bit decadent, but you know, teachers do a brilliant job with the children, so you know, let's treat them. And then finally the last 3 buttons, which are the mini buttons from the collection. And I'm going to position those on here. And as I said, this is my old school colours. For anybody who lives in Surrey, I went to Winston Churchill School for 2 years before I moved to North Wales, and that was our colours. I don't know if it's still the same. And anybody who lives in North Wales, I also went to Emrys ap Iwan, which is black and white and green, but that is where the boys go, Esgob Morgan School, and I thought those were brilliant as perfect teacher gifts in school colours. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me, and I hope to speak to you soon. Bye.